Hey YouTube, so if you're a returning viewer, thank you, very much appreciated. If you're new, please don't hesitate to go check out my other videos. I don't do just tarot reading, I do EMF and spirit contact. Anyways, today's video is just going to be a slight little informational. I had a conversation earlier today with somebody and sharing some good information back and forth, and during this conversation it hit me that I think a lot of people don't realize the amount of work that has to get put into their situations when they do start to become awoke. I think people feel that just because they realize certain things and they watch these videos on YouTube, that the first stage of being awoke means that they're awoke. There are definitely different levels to being awoke, and with each level there are lessons that need to be completed and work that needs to be done, and if it's not completed or even attempted, then obviously you don't keep rising in your ascensions. And based on how fast you pick up the hints and the messages that are being thrown at you and how fast you do the research will dictate how fast you climb to the next level of your ascension, right? There are people who I would call lukewarm. So there's a saying called like lukewarm Christian. Those are people who go to church on Sunday but don't necessarily practice or preach or live by the word on their daily lives. Now, spirituality is completely different from religion. Religion lives by the book, and spirituality lives by more so direct contact with the Most High and your spirit team around you, and of course nature and all of universe and its messages and hints that come across your path, right? So let's say you're someone who is an empath and you're considered a healer because you're sensitive to people's issues and emotions, and you like to help people come to a solution for their problems. Or let's say it could even be something that involves the body. Let's say people are having problems with their weight or muscles or whatever, okay? Healers come in many forms. And let's say that you are good at detecting this energy and where this energy is coming from, who it's coming from, and if it's good or bad energy. So if you're starting to begin your awakened journey and you're starting to go through these ascensions, you need to be aware that you are now going to start attracting people who, whether they on this worldly realm are aware of your abilities or if their higher self is aware of your abilities, but these people are going to be attracted to you And their main purpose for you at this point, when they start flooding into your life, is to cause you chaos and distraction and illusions and hardships and trouble concentrating, throwing you off your what I would call your compass, right? Throwing your compass off its guide a little bit, to completely dismantle your ability to gauge energies, so that you can become mentally unstable or just out of tune altogether. The reason for that is because when you start to awaken, and I'll get more into this later, your spirit and its light, its golden light that it holds, starts to brighten. Your aura is the shadow of that light. So like a lantern, how it has the light in the lantern, right? But then it has the outer shape, the outer shadow of that light. That is what your aura would be with your body and your inner light, right? So that aura, as it brightens, it can be seen in the other realms by these entities, demons, and spirits, and they're attracted to it like a moth to a flame. So if you are somebody who has not chosen a side, you're not somebody who is awoken, if you are someone who is a neutral ground, or back when I was younger, you used to say atheist or whatever, and let's just say you like to dibble and dabble in extracurricular activities, such as maybe drug use, alcohol, partying, sexual activities. These things in these other realms can inhabit your body, right? Temporarily, for short periods of time. And when they see this light, this aura in this realm, they're going to find the closest body that they can inhabit, and then go to that person that is holding that light and cause that disruption. So, I live close to the state of Oregon, right? And Oregon is known for being a breeding ground for witches. Back in the day, witches were the psychics, the healers, the mediums, the intuitives, the sensitives, the clairvoyants. And back then, because those people had these abilities, right? And typically, if you're amongst our group, we are not harmful. We don't look to harm others. So when we share this information, its sole purpose is to enlighten you, to awaken you, to give you insight, and hopefully allow you to find your way out of that darkness. Back then, the main goal of witch hunts and, Salem witch trials and hanging the witches was to discredit that group of people so that the masses didn't wake up to these abilities, because technically anyone can do that. Anyone can do this stuff if they're in tune enough with their self. Now, in today's day, when you speak about witches, your mind automatically goes to that group back then, right? But today's day, witches are not really composed of those type of people. Today's day, witches are actually people who practice magic, dark magic, black magic, hexes, things that are harmful to people and impede on people's free will, okay? And that goes against all universal laws, God-given laws for humanity. And so the whole point of the Salem witch trials back then was to discredit our group, right? Well, now that has taken a step further to where our group is labeled with mental health illnesses, with things such as schizophrenia. They are discredited on their credibility of the knowledge that they hold. They are put on medication to keep them from being in tune with themselves and continuing to receive these signs and messages and seeing things, all while they turn around and falsely claim our gifts as theirs, behind closed doors. Being a medium, a psychic, an intuitive, a seer, healer, whatever you want to say, being someone that holds these types of gifts, someone who is in tune with themselves, our group now lives a very lonely life. One, because you don't want to get slapped with the mental health illness label. You don't want to lose your credibility. You don't obviously want to lose your gifts. You don't want to be on the medication. And at the same time, it is also very lonely because it is a requirement. Isolation is the only way, especially in today's day with technology and all the distractions. Isolation is the only way for someone to properly calibrate their spirit with their body and with the realms. They need to be able to utilize all their senses without the distractions to be able to work these gifts and perfect them, okay? When you live around a lot of people, you work around a lot of people, or you're just hanging out with a lot of people, that is a lot of energy, that's a lot of emotions, that's a lot of personalities, that's a lot of moods. All of that is distractions. And then it's also persuaders. It's a way to persuade you into not really believing what you feel, think, and know is accurate. And it makes you question yourself. So isolation is a way for you to get to know your body's vibration, get to know your own personal energy outside of everyone else's, and know what the earthly realm's energy is and how it interacts with yours and your own responses to the environment. This can be hard for people who are in relationships with people who are not on the same level as them spiritually. Because obviously a relationship takes time. You have to maintain that relationship. And if you're not able to have a partner that understands that and gives you that time to yourself to do this type of work, you're going to run into problems. You're going to end up having to choose. Are you going to choose a relationship, or are you going to choose an ability that you've tapped into that could possibly help change humanity on this earth for the better? Then you have different beliefs, okay? And that just causes friction in the relationships. So a lot of people that do this type of work don't find themselves in relationships, or don't find themselves in steady relationships. Along with that, once the universe has gotten the sign that you're now tapped in, there's missions that you have to go on. You may find yourself having to pick up and move to different places numerous times a year, or dealing with groups of people several times a year. And that as well can be hard on a relationship, because if you've been doing this work for a while, you will know that if your people, your group around you, are not supportive of you, or try to distract you or keep you from doing what needs to be done, the universe will remove them from you. They're not allowed to continue to travel on the journey with you. So we are now at a time, and if most of you watch these videos, you all have heard many of the readers say this. We are now at a time where the collective is starting to meet up with their soul tribes. That would be like-minded people. So healers are meeting up with other healers. Seers are meeting up with other seers. And this is happening rapidly. But you're also going to run into situations where you have somebody in this group that is a lot more awoke than another person, and it's your job to get that person up to speed. It's your job to make sure that person understands the rules on how to maneuver, so that they don't put themselves in a real bad spot, or find themselves in a troublesome situation. Because like I said, once you begin this and your aura radiates that light, the darkness comes flowing in. So if someone is unaware and does not know how to protect themselves, that alone will dismantle somebody real fast and cause some problems. Now, I'm not saying that all people labeled with schizophrenia are people that do this work. Of course, to make it believable when they slap us with that label, there actually has to be some real people with those issues. Okay? So if you encounter someone who tells you that they're schizophrenic, don't automatically assume that they are someone who is tuned in, and it's okay to believe what they say or where they lead you. Discernment is still very much important to have. Especially because these dark forces, these dark energies, these entities, these demons, because they now have figured out how to take on human form for however long, they know the same information we know. So they're going to have these conversations with you. They're going to ask you questions for you to share this information. They're going to make you think that they are one of the collective. And then before you know it, they have done something that has put you 10 steps back, or again, has put you in a really bad spot. So, like I say, you need to shut up and people watch. You need to sit back once you get the inclination that somebody is holding on to the same knowledge or abilities that you have. You need to flip it around. You need to be the one to ask questions. You need to be the one to play not as knowledgeable as you are. And you need to sit back and watch them and listen to them. You let them speak long enough, they will tell on themselves. You watch them long enough, you will see something that lets you know that they are not on the same team. Like I said in the beginning, the people who are truly in tune and connected and working these abilities under divine universal law, we are not out to hurt anybody. We are not out to cause no harm. We are not out to put anyone in any type of chaos, distress, or mental illness. We are not out to dismantle anybody. Okay? The goal is to bring everybody up to speed, bring everybody up to the same level, energetic wise. Help people find the light within them again, their confidence, their willpower. Help people realize the strength that they have. Help people find what they're good at in their lives. And of course, we need to lower the hate energy and raise the love energy, unity and understanding. Our group is somewhat like an underground movement, right? Sure, we have YouTube. Sure, we have the tarot readers. But we all know that there's light and dark and everything. So there are your real ones, and then there are your frauds. I myself don't have the whole technology set up that a lot of these tarot readers have. And while trying to figure out how to reinvent my YouTube page, I came across a site that pretty much lays out your headline, your topics, day to day, gives you your whole spiel to say, and the picture to use. And I had to sit back, my jaw dropped, and I realized that a lot of these guys, they're not doing their own work. It's being put together for them based on people's interest, what piques their interest mentally. So be aware of that. Also, if you are starting this journey, or if you're struggling on this journey, I'm going to give you a key part to help you. You need to be very in tune with who you are. You need to be okay with who you are. You need to acknowledge who you are, what you've done, why you are the way you are, and not be upset about it, because everything truly does happen for a reason. And if you can acknowledge who you are and be okay with it, then you're able to take it one step further and now have control over yourself. You will be able to control your emotions when you need to. You will be able to control your responses to people when you need to. You will be able to gauge other people's attitudes, moods, emotions, responses, reactions to things, whether or not they're doing certain things to get a reaction out of you. This will help you control your situation more, so that you're not as energetically and emotionally affected by what others are doing. This will make it harder for people to manipulate you and harder for them to set you back in your missions, your goals, your life. And doing this is hard because there's elements to it. You have life itself, what society tells you life should be like. Then you have the life that you grew up wanting for yourself. And then you have this life, the spirituality life, that has its own agenda, its own missions that it sends you on. In the beginning, you're not going to realize that you're even being sent on missions. You'll hear people talk about it and you'll be like, oh, when's that going to happen to me? And then before you know it, you'll wake up one day and all of a sudden you're getting thrown all these signs, all this information, you're doing research, you're going to feel like you're going down the rabbit hole, but only if you just breathe and take a moment and step back, you'll realize your sanity is still intact, but you're being filled with knowledge, and that knowledge actually is going to help you deal with people. It's going to help you deal with the system that society has set up, and it's going to help you actually deal with yourself. Another thing about this, working with these abilities, some of you have more than one. The way my journey worked is I didn't get any abilities until I hit a certain level of understanding. And then I got not even a whole ability. I got a partial ability. And it made me question if I was like just tricking myself into having it. But you got to keep working with it. Keep working with it. Keep working with it. And then I got a little bit more of that ability given to me. And then once the whole thing was given, that's when I realized, okay, I'm on to something. And then I went through a couple more levels before the next one was given to me. So there's a certain amount of knowledge that you have to obtain and you have to understand. And you're going to be tested on that understanding. The universe wants to make sure you really understand that knowledge that you have. And then the ability that you get. The universe wants to make sure you really understand the ability you have and what it's used for. And it's going to test you. It's going to give you some things you can use it on. And then it's going to give you some information for the next ability. And it's going to test you on that. And then it's going to give you the ability. And then it's going to test you again. So you don't get them all at once. And some people only get one because that is what they're really, really good at. And maybe that's all they can handle. So very important key working with this is you don't tell people your next move, and that is a mistake I made a lot because I'm somebody that gets excited for people when they achieve things, and I like to help people reach their achievements. And when I achieve something, I like to be just excited for myself as well. And other people don't work like that. So you need to be careful, because if you do get excited and you do tell people, there will be a lot of hate energy, a lot of jealous energy, a lot of envious energy, a lot of sabotaging that will happen, a lot of distracting, anything to put a stop to you not being just like everyone else. People don't want to see different. You will find yourself getting blocked, and it will mess with you mentally after a while. You will get very frustrated, and it will make you want to give up. Even things you've already received. Let's say you got a new job, right? You're working at a job. You're proud of yourself because now you're learning to balance your new job and this stuff, right? Somebody will do something and take that job from you. You can't do this work without your spirit team. So some people doing this work don't have the ability to communicate with their spirit team. They don't have the ability to have conversations with the other realm. And that's okay. You don't have to hear them. You don't have to see them. You need to just know that they're there and they hear you. But you need to also know that they cannot move on your behalf unless you tell them to. So, let's say you're in a situation and you're struggling, you're being attacked spiritually, and things are just hitting the fan. Everything's falling apart. Cars aren't running. You lost your job. House is falling apart. Relationships are going awry. Your spirit team cannot kick in on your behalf and cannot remove the negativity, the darkness, the naysayers, or the people causing this problem, or the energies causing this problem, or they can't get you into a new environment unless you tell them it's okay for them to intervene. It makes it really useful for you to know who your spirit team is and their names. And when I first started, I heard that, and someone told me a bullshit answer like, yeah, just write in a notebook that you want them to communicate their names to you, And then you'll know I did that, and I went years not knowing anything. And it was because, one, I didn't have that gift yet. And two, it doesn't work like that. So if you don't have the ability to communicate with the other realm, you need to find someone in the collective who does and connect with them. Network. Piggyback off everybody in the collective's abilities to make the whole thing work. And if you're in the collective and you have this ability and you don't want to help them and you're going to charge them, you can kick rocks. Another thing, it is all about the mind, the mental power that you have. If you have a strong mind, then you will be able to do this. And this is why. A lot of us in the collective that are doing this type of work have had a really rough life. I came from money, okay? My parents were rich. Until the day I moved out on my own, I lived a good life. Didn't struggle at all. The day I moved out on my own, it was problem after problem after problem after problem. I am 37 years old and a full head of gray hair. A lot of the stuff I have been through, I have had a professional counselor ask me, how is it that I am still mentally intact and sane? You have to know your strength. You have to know it does not last forever. And that the universe really will kick in when you are too exhausted to continue. It will throw you a life raft. If you can't see that life raft, it will send a boat. If you don't get on the boat, that is your problem. The reason why we go through these issues, we have these hard times, is because the universe wants to make sure, one, we have the strength. Because this is war. Not yet. Boot camp, right? Two, you have to have the mental capacity to trust in yourself and know your own ability and strength. Three, the universe needs you to have the understanding of every situation that everyone in the world could possibly have gone through. One, so that there is an understanding there. Two, so there's common ground. Three, so you know what the fuck you're talking about when you go to help these people. And four, to keep you humble. You get these abilities and you go out there and you brag and you act like your shit don't stink and you charge everyone for them and all this stuff, but you're not really doing any work to help improve the person that you're charging. The universe don't want you. The other key, you need to get back in touch with your childhood. The saying goes, the divine likes it when you come to him childlike, right? This is why. All the child story books that you've read, like for instance, Peter Pan, he talks about, you gotta believe, Wendy. You just believe. You have to believe that this gift you are utilizing, are experiencing, is real. You have to believe that what you know in your mind, and you don't know how you know it, it's just there, is real facts. If you don't believe in yourself and you don't believe that it's real, you're going to fail. And if you can't do that, then you're not going to manifest what you want in your life. You're not going to be able to do it. If you have people around you who don't believe, and they don't believe in you, and they don't believe in themselves, that will create a block for you. That will stop you from moving forward. It'll be like walking into a glass door that is so clean you didn't know it was there. The other thing. God. I say God. I sometimes switch up and say divine. And then I say the universe. It's all the same. God is not a man. God is not a human. God is not a figure in the sky. Okay? God is the universe. The universe is what created Earth. The universe is what gives us our materials, our elements to create life. Going all the way back in history, way before Bible times, mythology times, we're talking about the stars. Aphrodite, Zeus, all up there. So, you're not going to see him as a human form in front of you. You're going to feel. It's going to be a feeling. That's why it's important that you know how your body is with its own energy and how your body is reacting with the earth, the worldly realm. Because it's about your feelings. Do you get goosebumps? Do you tingle? Do you sweat? Do you get hot? Do you get cold? It's how your DNA makeup reacts to what the universe is sending you. that seer over there may get ice chills. I over here may look like I'm in an inferno and sweating my ass off. The other thing, the Holy Spirit is inside your body, and it is your spinal fluid. Anytime you feel attacked, you need to use your childlike imagination and picture that spinal fluid lit up like it actually is in real life. And picture it flowing through your whole body, cleansing it, clearing it out, detoxing you. This is how good and powerful your mind is and how good that spinal fluid is. You can be a straight up everyday user of a narcotic or hardcore drug and have to go take a drug test tomorrow. But if you meditate for 15 minutes and tell that spinal fluid to cleanse and detox your body, guess what? When you go take that test, you're going to piss negative. The Bible is a mental restraint. They give enough information for you to know that spirituality is real, but not enough for you to actually learn how to do it. Discernment comes. When you read the Bible, you need to know when it's Satan's story, not God. The universe does not impede on free will. That is a law. So the universe, God, would not tell Joseph to put his son up on that and as an offering. Or whoever it was that did that to their kid. I don't know. I don't know the Bible by heart because it's bullshit. And I'm going to tell you right now. You need to know when it's the devil's story. When it's actually God, divine, universe, whatever. And when it's man putting in his 2 cents to make sure that they still have their 5 fucking fingers on the top of your skull. If you have not chosen a side, but you're in this collective, and you think you're going to be able to use these abilities for whatever you want, you will have massive repercussions. You're not to use them for your own gain. You're not to use them to hurt anybody. You are not to use them on anyone without permission from that person. Earth was dark when we were sent here. Chosen ones, not just chosen ones, because like I said, everybody has this ability. The ones that have actually figured it out and are in tune, they got to be in line to be called a chosen one. The ones who answered the call and are continuing to do the work, that's when you're considered the chosen one. But really, anyone's up for grabs. So don't feel special. Earth is dark. The whole mission here, if you're going to be a chosen one, is to help those wandering this dark realm find their light so they can find their way out of the dark. And I'm going to say this again. There are 12 realms. Not 3, not 4, not 5. There are 12. So there are things that us as humans have not seen, heard, or know about. So when I say that when you start to gain this knowledge and be given these abilities, your aura shines real bright in those realms. And they are attracted to that light like a moth to a flame. So you best make sure you put on your armor and you ask the universe to shield you, and you tell your spirit team to get involved in shielding you. Otherwise, round and round you go. Where you land, nobody knows. Have a good day.